Hello students, welcome to AIMS India online classes. This is a chemistry session. We are going to discuss about metals and non-metals. Already in the previous session about metals we have seen what are metals, based on which properties these elements are classified as metals. We have seen there. Now we are going to discuss about non-metals. Those elements which do not possess the characteristics of metals are termed as non-metals. Yeah, just to say simply, the elements which do not possess the properties of metals are termed as non-metals. What are metals actually we told? Yes, metals are certain elements which possess certain characteristic properties. What are those properties we said? Yes, ductility, malleability, sonority, conduction of heat and electricity, hard solids. These all are the properties of metals. Those elements which are having these properties are considered as metals. All the metals mostly they are having a hard solid nature. They are malleable, ductile, sonorous, and they can conduct heat and electricity. So those are metals. Those elements which are not having these properties, which are not possessing these properties, are considered as non-metals. For example, sulfur, carbon, bromine, oxygen, these all are examples for non-metals. They do not possess the properties of metals. Okay, these all will come under non-metals. The elements which do not possess the properties of metals are considered as non-metals. Occurrence of these non-metals. So just like the metals, these non-metals also they exist in free state as well as in the combined state. Some non-metals they found in the free state, some they are found in the combined state. Some non-metals which are found in the free state are examples like nitrogen, oxygen. These are existing in the free state. They exist in the atmospheric air in the free gaseous form. Not only in the gaseous form, some other elements also they exist in the different states. So few non-metals they exist in the free state in the atmosphere. Some non-metals they exist in the combined state. They won't exist in the free state. They will be in the combined form. They will be mixed with some other metals or non-metals and they will be converted into compound form. So some non-metals available in the compound state, that we say combined state. For example, sulfur. Sulfur mostly it available in the form of sulfides. It will be in the form of metal sulfides. If we take phosphorus also, it will be existing in the free form as well as in the combined state along with the metals, metal phosphates in this form. Okay, just like the metals, non-metals also available in two states. One in the free state and other one is in the combined state also. Some examples of the non-metallic elements existing in the free state are some gaseous elements like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. These elements they exist in the free state also. And some elements are there. They can exist in the combined state as well as free state. For example, if you take sulfur, sulfur can exist in the free state in certain areas. In mostly, it exists in the combined state on combining with metals in the form of metal sulfides, metal sulfates. It is available. Even phosphorus also in the same way. Phosphorus will be available in the free state as well as in the metallic compounds state like phosphates and these all. Okay. Next, properties of these nonmetals. First, let us say about physical properties of these nonmetals. As we said, these nonmetals exist with the properties which are opposite to metals generally. We say nonmetals may be solids, liquids, or gases. So, some nonmetals that exist in the gaseous form, some are in the liquid state, and even some nonmetals are available in the solid state also. For example, if you say carbon and sulfur, these are non-metals which are existing in the solid state. If you say bromine, It is also one of the non-metals. It exists in the liquid state. We can say only one non-metal which is available in the liquid state. If you see hydrogen, it is also a non-metal. It exists in the gaseous form. So in this way, non-metals available in three states. Some are in the solid state, some are in the gaseous state, even some are in the liquid state. They are available to us. Yes, even hydrogen and oxygen, these all are gaseous non-metallic elements. Non-metals which are solids are brittle. Yes, have you heard this word brittle? Brittle means easily breakable. Say this carbon, sulfur, these are available in the solid form. Of course, they are in the solid form, but they are easily breakable. See here, when it is hammered, sulfur, it is made into small pieces. It easily breaks into small pieces. That nature by which a solid breaks into small pieces is called brittle nature. So most of the solid nonmetals are brittle. They easily breaks into small pieces. When it is hit with the hammer or when it is fallen down, immediately that will break into small pieces. See here carbon. Carbon is available for us in the form of coal. Coal will be seems like a solid. But when you make this to fall down, when it is touching falling on the floor, immediately it breaks up into small pieces. When you hammer that with the hammer, that coal will become small pieces. That nature by which a solid easily breaks into small pieces is called brittle nature. Okay, non-metals are brittle solids. Not all the non-metals. The non-metals which are available in the solid state are generally brittle in nature. Some more properties we are going to see here. Non-metals have dull surface. They do not shine. We said metals are shiny. They have lustrous property. But whereas non-metals are non-lustrous. They do not shine. They don't have shiny surfaces. That we told at the starting itself. They have properties quite opposite to metals generally. So metals whereas which are having shining property, whereas non-metals do not have any shining. They won't shine. They don't have shiny surfaces. Example, if you see here carbon in the form of powder, it won't have any shining surfaces. It won't shine. Okay, that is, we can say simply non-metals are non-lustrous. They don't shine. Okay, next one. Non-metals are non-sonorous or non-metals are not sonorous. They won't produce any sound when we hit an object. Whereas metals are sonorous. What you said sonorous means? The production of sound when hit with an object. Metals can produce sound when we hit an object. But non-metals cannot produce sound. So we can say non-metals are non-sonorous. They do not produce sound when we hit with an object. Okay, next property. Non-metals have low melting points. Yes, whereas when we just let us try to compare these properties of non-metals with the metals. Metals have high melting and boiling points. Mostly all the metals are hard solids at normal temperatures. To melt them, it requires large amount of heat. That means they have high melting points. Whereas non-metals are having low melting points. Even some non-metals are existing in the liquid state or gaseous state at normal temperature also. Even the non-metals which are in the solid states also, they are having low melting points. By heating to certain temperatures, they can convert into liquid states. Whereas metals, to be converted into liquid state, they should be heated to very high temperatures. Okay, that means non-metals are having low melting points. I think you know what is meant by melting point. The temperature at which a solid converts into liquid state. Metals converts into liquid state at high temperatures, whereas non-metals they can convert into liquid state even at low temperatures also. So we can say they have low melting points. Next one. Non-metals are not ductile. What does it mean here, ductile? Ductile means the property by which an element can be drawn or a substance can be drawn into thin wires. Generally, metals are ductile, means we can draw metals into very thin and fine wires. Very fine example for that, copper wires which we use at homes for electrical supply. That means copper is ductile. Not only copper, almost all the metals are ductile. They can be drawn into thin wires. But whereas by coming to non-metals, non-metals cannot be drawn into thin wires. So they are called non-ductile. Non-metals cannot be drawn into thin wires. They are non-ductile. Even one more property in the same way. Non-metals are not malleable. What does it mean here, malleable again? Malleable means the property by which a substance can be beaten into thin sheets. Very fine example for this in the metals we can say like aluminium. Aluminium is one of the metal that is beaten into very thin sheets and it is made into different vessels. At our homes daily, if we use so many vessels made up of aluminum and this steel and even some brass and this all, some metallic vessels we use at home. So that is because of the malleable property of metals. Metals can be beaten into thin sheets, but non-metals cannot be beaten into thin sheets. As we told, these non-metal solids are brittle in nature. When you try to beat them to make into sheets, they break into small pieces. Okay, so we can say non-metals are non-malleable or not malleable, whereas metals are malleable. One more property. Non-metals are bad conductors of heat and electricity. Yes, whereas metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Metals can conduct electricity and heat through them. That is why we use most of the electrical wires in our homes which are made up of metals. Metals like copper and aluminium. Whereas non-metals, they cannot conduct electricity or heat through them. So they are bad conductors of heat and electricity. They cannot conduct. They don't have capacity to conduct electricity or heat through them. Next, as we told, there are some exceptions in the characteristics of metals, general characteristics of metals. In the same way, there are some non-metals also which are accepted from these general properties of non-metals. Let us see what are those here. Diamond. Actually, all the non-metals we said non-lustrous. They do not have any shining property. This is common property of non-metals. But there are certain non-metals like diamond, which is made up of carbon atoms. Carbon is a non-metal we know. So diamond is made up of non-metal only. Completely it is carbon. Even though it is a non-metal, it is having luster or shining property. They glitter. We know that. Diamonds are very shining. Because of that only, it is very precious and costly. But it is made up of non-metal carbon. So mostly all the non-metals are non-shiny or non-lustrous. But diamond is one of them which is accepted here, which is having shining property. It is having luster. One more, graphite also. Graphite is also one of the forms of carbon. But even though it is a non-metallic element, it also having lustrous property. It also shines. Very fine example, very well known example for this is our pencil lids. If you observe, it is having some shining property. Pencil lid shines because it is made up of graphite. Graphite, even though it is a non-metallic carbon element, it is having lustrous property. One more exception for this graphite. Even though it is a non-metallic element, it can conduct electricity. It is one of the good conductors of heat and electricity. It is just like the metals, it also can conduct electricity and heat through it. Okay? Graphite is a good conductor of heat and electricity, whereas diamond and graphite are lustrous. One more, bromine is a liquid non-metal, whereas All the nonmetals are either solids or gases, but only one nonmetal existing in the liquid state is bromine. Bromine is one of the liquid nonmetals. Now, let us see the uses of these nonmetals. We have seen the properties of nonmetals, which are simply to say the properties which are shown by metals. If they are not shown by the elements, those elements are considered as nonmetals. The elements which do not possess the characteristics of metals are called as nonmetals. Metal, just like the properties like non-lustrous, non-ductile, non-malleable, bad conductors of heat and electricity, low melting and boiling points. These all are the characteristic properties of nonmetals. Now let us see here the uses of these nonmetals. So first let us see the very important nonmetal for our survival, oxygen. Let us see here the uses of oxygen. Yes, the most important use of oxygen is combustion. For the combustion of fuels, combustion in the sense burning. Generally we burn fuels to produce energy which is used in different forms. So for combustion of any fuel, oxygen gas is very must. In the presence of oxygen gas only, fuels will burn and produce heat or some other form energy. So for the combustion of fuels, oxygen is very important. And these mountaineers, generally we say mountain climbers, when they are going to higher altitudes, we know as we move up and up, the content of air will be reduced, it will be decreased. If you climb the mountains to higher altitudes, there the content of air or oxygen will be very less. There the people they cannot breathe conveniently. To avoid that inconvenience, people will carry certain oxygen gas cylinders with them. See, he is carrying some oxygen gas cylinder along with him. So this contains oxygen gas. They will give it to the mouth. They will breathe through that. So in that way they can survive there. If you go without oxygen cylinders, we cannot breathe comfortably there because their oxygen content will be very less at a higher altitudes. So mountain is the use is oxygen gas in the cylinders. Next, decomposition. Yes, it is also very important. Decomposition of dead animals and plants is very must. If they won't decompose, this whole earth will be filled with these dead plants and animals only. But luckily, these will be decomposed time to time. For the decomposition of these food items and animals and living things, this oxygen is very important. In the decomposition of these waste materials, oxygen is very helpful. For the decomposition of these, oxygen is used. And for breathing purpose, it is well known, very important. We can survive without food for a few days. We can survive without water for few hours. But without air, without oxygen, we cannot live even for few minutes also. Because in that way, oxygen is very much important for us for breathing purpose. Okay, for the respiration, it is very important. And divers. Divers means the people who go into deep water. There also there will be no oxygen. To stay for a long time inside the water, to search there, they need to carry some oxygen with them in the cylinders. Just like astronaut mountaineers, these also will carry some cylinders which are having oxygen gas. So with that, with the help of these oxygen cylinders, they breathe inside the water and they can stay for a long time inside. Okay, the divers also they will carry oxygen cylinders with them. And even in rusting of these metals also oxygen is used. Okay, these are some uses of oxygen. Let us see some more here. Supplemental oxygen at home and in hospitals is vital for those with breathing disorders. Yes, some people will be suffering with these some breathing disorders like asthma and these all sinus problem. So those people who are not able to breathe themselves in the convenient way, for them artificial breathing or artificial supply of oxygen is provided so that they can breathe easily. So there in the supplemental oxygen, they are used in the form of cylinders there. So for breathing proper process also, they use is oxygen gas. I think you heard about this. In the hospital, they use oxygen gas mixed with a little amount of carbon dioxide in the form of carbogen. In the hospitals, the oxygen cylinders contain this carbogen. This is given as for the artificial respiration of the patients who are suffering with these breathing disorders. One more, compressed oxygen tanks are used by mountaineers at higher elevations to counterattack the decreased oxygen pressure at these altitudes. Yes, we have discussed about this. So when they go to higher altitudes, there the oxygen content or air content will be very less. So as there is no much oxygen, they cannot breathe properly. To avoid this inconvenience, they carry oxygen cylinders with them. Next, oxygen is used in other applications involving metal and requiring high temperatures such as welding torches. Yes, in applications involving metals like bending the metals, welding metals. In these all purposes, the high temperature should be produced because, as we said, no, metals are having high melting points. They cannot melt at normal temperatures. So, to melt them or to bend them, very high temperature should be produced. So, for producing this high temperature, some torches are used which can produce that flame with a very high temperature. They are called oxyacetylene torches. Sorry, oxyacetylene torches. There, one of the organic gas acetylene is burnt in the presence of oxygen gas, and hence it can produce a flame with a very high temperature. Around 3000 degrees Celsius temperature it produces there. So at that temperature, metals will start melting so that they can bend these metals into different shapes, and when they can weld, they can join the metals also. Okay, so for welding purpose and molding purpose of these metals, they use this oxygen gas in the form of oxyacetylene torches. And one more, it is oxyhydrogen torch also. Anyhow, in those, some gas will be burnt in the presence of oxygen and produces a large amount of energy in the form of heat and flame. That is used for the welding purpose in that. Okay, their oxygen gas is used in that way. Next one, in liquid form, oxygen is used widely as an oxidizing agent for use in missiles and rockets, where it reacts with the liquid hydrogen to produce a terrific thrust needed for the takeoff. Yes, for taking off these rockets and missiles, terrific thrust will be produced. High energy should be produced. There, the fuels kept in that rockets and missiles will be burnt in the presence of oxygen kept in them in the form of liquid oxygen. So this liquid oxygen, we told for the burning of fuels, for any fuel for burning, oxygen gas is must. So this in the presence of this liquid oxygen gas, those fuels will be burned and produces abnormal heat energy, which is like in the form of thrust. Terrific thrust will be produced there, so that that missile or rocket will take off immediately with heavy high speed. Okay, that is called liquid oxygen gas is used in the rockets and missiles for burning of fuels. This liquid oxygen is also called LOX in the short form. LOX. LOX is used in the missiles and rockets for the burning of fuels. Okay, right, these are the general uses of oxygen. Next, if you see one more non-metal, sulfur, widely used in the different aspects. This sulfur also, see here, sulfur is used to make bleaching agents like toilet cleaners, these all are bathroom cleaners, tiles cleaners, these all, and even fertilizers. In the preparation of fertilizers also, this sulfur is used, and some disinfectants also. In the preparation of some disinfectants also, sulfur is used, and insecticides which are used in the crop fields, agricultural purpose to kill these insects. So in those insecticides also sulfur is used. In the production of some gases like sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide also sulfur is used. And one more important use of the sulfur gas is sulfur is the preparation of sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is one of the important laboratory chemical. In the preparation of the sulfuric acid, sulfur is used. And carbon disulfide, hydrogen sulfide. In this way, some chemicals are also prepared from sulfur. Some ointments. It is a domestic purpose, we can say. In our homes, we use some ointments for curing from the wounds and dissolve from burning wounds. We use some ointments to apply on those wounds. So those ointments are made up of this sulfur. Sulfur is used in making of those ointments. And one more, gunpowder. Yes, this is used in the rifles and guns to burn these bullets. Okay, to fire these bullets, they use this gunpowder. When they pull this trigger, this will be burned immediately and produce abnormal energy inside, so that the bullet will be pushed out. So this gunpowder is filled in the bullets. In that also, sulfur is one of the components. And one more, matchstick heads. Along with the red phosphorus, this sulfur is also used in making of these matchstick heads. Those black tips containing phosphorus as well as sulfur in those. So these are the uses of sulfur. Next, let us see one more non-metallic element, that is nitrogen. Uses of nitrogen. Nitrogen gas is used to flush out empty oil tankers when they are ideal to reduce the risk of inflammability. Yes, some oil tankers, after emptying them, there might be some oil left inside that may cause some inflammation or blastings. To avoid that, to evacuate the tank completely, they use this nitrogen gas. They will flush this nitrogen gas into that, so that that oil, whatever it is there inside, it will be completely evacuated. If you use some other gases to evacuate or flush that, that may cause explosion immediately. Whereas nitrogen gas cannot cause any explosion, so it is safely can be used there. Nitrogen is used in unloading of oil from ships, as it acts as blanket above oil and prevents vapors from the igniting. Yes, while unloading these oils, inflammable oils like petrol, diesel, these all from the ships, they use this nitrogen gas over them. They blow this nitrogen gas over those liquids. As these liquids will be evaporating, they may catch fire immediately and they can cause explosions, fire accidents. So to avoid that, they use this nitrogen gas to blow on them. This nitrogen gas will act like a blanket on those. So burning and firing can be avoided there and they can be safely unloaded. And one more use of this nitrogen, nitrogen is used to make certain fertilizers like ammonia and other nitrates, metallic nitrates, and even nitric acid. So in these all, nitrogen gas is used in the preparation, some fertilizers and ammonia and these all. Okay. See here, they are the oil tankers. After evacuating them, after unloading these, if they're existing any small quantity also, sometimes they may cause some explosions and accidents. To avoid that, they fill or they flush nitrogen gas into these. Then totally the gas or liquid, whatever it is there present inside, that will be flushed out. Even from the ships also. Okay, to unloading these oils, they use this nitrogen gas as blanket on those. Like next to liquid nitrogen also having some uses, just like the liquid oxygen, liquid nitrogen also having some uses. Liquid nitrogen is used in the medicine to remove rots and store donor organs. Yes, it is very important use of liquid nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen can be used for storing these donor organs. Some people often they donate some their lungs, kidneys, and even eyes. They'll donate. So if they're immediately replaced to some other people, no problem. Sometimes they have to preserve those for few hours or few days. Then they preserve these organs, human organs, living organs, in this liquid nitrogen gas. Then it won't be damaged. It can be used further. So for the preservation of these organs, donated organs, they use this liquid nitrogen because it can produce very low temperatures, very cool temperature. At those temperatures, these organs will be alive and without getting any damage there. They won't be decomposed. Next, it is also used in food industry to make ice creams and quick freeze foods. Yes, in food industry, certain food items, ready to eat food items, they freeze quickly, very quickly to avoid the spoilage. So there also they use this liquid nitrogen gas for that purpose. Okay, yes, some food item they freeze immediately to avoid for spoilage. So there they use liquid nitrogen gas to remove some rods on the skin also like this. They use this liquid nitrogen gas. Okay, these are the uses of nitrogen. Let us see next one more element, hydrogen. Yes, even hydrogen also having many uses. Hydrogen gas is used in power generation. Yes, hydroelectricity is called that. In the generation of electricity also, hydrogen is used nowadays. And some synthetic fuels. Generally, we get fuels from petroleum and some other natural gas. Some chemical fuels are produced nowadays by using synthetically in the laboratory also. In those reactions also, they use this hydrogen gas. And nowadays we're getting the advanced technologies, vehicles which are running with certain gases like hydrogen. Those are called hydrogen gases, pollution free, eco friendly. We can call those vehicles because they won't produce any harmful gases like carbon dioxide and dissolve. When hydrogen burns, that produces only water vapor, which is harmless to us. So nowadays hydrogen vehicles are coming. There in those vehicles, hydrogen is used as fuel. Okay, next in the fertilizers, along with some other elements, hydrogen gas is also used in the making of certain fertilizers like ammonia and dissolve. Metal refining, because refining of metal requires a large heat energy. Then only these metals will be melted so that they can be refined and purified. So in this purpose, they use this hydrogen gas for producing large amounts of heat. And we told in the welding purposes also, along with the hydrogen, sometimes in the place of acetylene, they use this hydrogen gas also. This hydrogen also, when burnt in the presence of oxygen, produces a large amount of heat so that they can melt the metals and dissolve. Okay, in the welding purpose also, they use this hydrogen gas in heating purposes. Okay, these are the uses of hydrogen gas. Okay, that is about non-metals. Non-metals possess the properties quite opposite to metals. Non-sonorous, non-malleable, non-ductile, non-lustrous, poor conductors of heat and electricity. These are properties of non-metals. And here also we told some exceptions and some uses of non-metals also we have seen. Based upon this, let us one more non-metal, chlorine. Chlorine is also one of the non-metals. It is also having some uses. It is used in the water treatment. It is the most important use of chlorine. It is used in the sterilization of water. Disinfectant. It is used as a disinfectant. Generally, the people who are living in certain areas where water is not properly available, the water available for them they purify by using these chlorine tablets. The soldiers who are securing us in the forest and this all, they cannot get purified water. What they'll do there, they will take the water which is available in that area and they'll purify that by using these chlorine tablets. When they dissolve these chlorine tablets into water, this chlorine can kill the germs and bacteria present in the water so that that water will be purified. So anyhow, here chlorine is used in the water purification, water treatment. Okay. Not only in that, in the textile industry and in the paper industry also, chlorine is used in the food processing and in the preparation of some plastics like PVC. It is one of the vinyl chloride is called, which is in the making of some plastic items like doors, pipes, tubes. In this preparation, they use this one of the plastics. So in the preparation of this also, they use chlorine. So these are the uses of non-metal chlorine. Okay, now let us see some assessment on this. Let us see some questions. Try to answer these questions. First one, which non-metal is essential for our life and inhale during breathing? Yes, which non-metal we are using for breathing continuously, children? See here what are the options given. Hydrogen, oxygen, chlorine and nitrogen. Which non-metal is used for breathing? Yes, it is oxygen. We use oxygen for breathing. Next question. The non-metal which exists in the liquid state at room temperature. Yes, mostly all the non-metals are either solids or gases, but only one non-metal exists in the liquid state at room temperature. What is that non-metal? Is it mercury, graphite, or diamond, or bromine? Which is that? Which is the non-metal exists in the liquid state at room temperature? Yes, it is bromine. Sorry, it is given there graphite. It is bromine, not the graphite. Graphite is wrong. Graphite is one of the hardest solid substance, even diamond also. But whereas mercury, if you take, it is also liquid, but it is liquid metal. These two are solid non-metals. Only one is liquid non-metal is bromine. Okay, next one. Which metal is found in liquid state at room temperature? Mercury, graphite, bromine, diamond. Which metal? Okay, let us see. I think they have given repeated. No problem. Let us go for the next question. Which of the following cannot be beaten into sheets? See here the options. Which cannot be beaten into sheets? Is it sulfur, iron, copper, or aluminium? Which cannot be beaten into sheets? Generally, metals can be beaten into sheets. They have malleable property, whereas non-metals cannot be beaten into sheets, so they are non-malleable. Say out of given options which is a non-metal that can be correct answer, because that cannot be beaten into thin sheets. Which is that? Yes, it is sulfur. Sulfur cannot be beaten into sheets. State true or false. See the statements given. Try to identify whether they are true or not. False. Non-metals have different colors. Non-metals have low melting and boiling points. Non-metals are sonorous. See which options are correct about non-metals. Non-metals are having different colors. Yes, it is correct. Some non-metals are in the black color. Example, if you take graphite in the carbon in the form of coal and graphite, it is in the black color. If you take sulfur, sulfur will be generally in the form of yellow color. If you take phosphorus, it is in the brown color or gray color. Some are there colorless. So non-metals are available in different colors for us. That is correct. Non-metals have low melting and boiling points. This is also correct. Next, non-metals are sonorous. Is it correct? Sonorous means what? They can produce sound on heating. Is it correct about non-metals? No. Non-metals cannot produce sound by heating. They are non-sonorous. See options now. Which is correct, children? First two statements are correct. Second, the last R statement is wrong. Now the correct option will be this. Yes. Okay. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and visit our website www.aimstoday.in for latest updates on recorded videos. Thank you.